Welcome to this riveting fireside chat called No Rich Uncles. Right? Now, they say if you want to go far together, follow the woman. And it is in this vein that blended stories, blended, because I'm like,
You're right, you're not wrong.
Blended stories.
exactly.
Blended films.
It is.
Yes. You're on point.
I'm on point.
You're on point.
That blended films and Story Oasis have combined forces. And over the next 3 years, they will be working together to collaborate to develop 9 concepts into script. Now, of course, working together as a team of females, there's a lot of questions that I want to ask. How difficult it is, for example, in the industry for females. What are some of the positive sides to that as well? And then also look to see what is the future for both of you ladies. And you've got some exciting announcements as well that we are going to be looking at a little bit later. So thank you. And without much further ado, let me please give a round of applause to Juanita, Tracy Lee, Dominique, and Andrina. Now, before I want to actually just have a conversation and let you ladies unpack for us everything that you are collaborating on and what it is that you want to work together with, I want to be able to get a little insight into who you are as people by asking one question.
Okay.
If you were a superhero, okay, because you are, right? But if you could be any Marvel, any superhero that exists or doesn't exist yet, who would you be and what would your superpower be? Juanita, let's start with you.
It's a tough one. But I think if I were a superhero, I would be the kind of woman, if Deadpool was a woman, like the power to absolutely regenerate and reconstitute myself. Like, I don't care what you throw at me. Go ahead, shoot your cannon into my whole face. It's fine. You're going to give me some time. I'm going to come back even stronger. And that so much of the locus of my power is connected to the idea of a love. I think that I like everything about Deadpool, but he needs boobs, and that would be me.
We have on stage Deadpool with boobs.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Tracy, who would you be? What superhero?
I think I'd be Professor X
Ooh.
from X-Men. I'd get into people's heads
Love that.
and convince them to finance us.
There we go. Telepathic powers for financing. Very, very intelligent. Dominique, yourself, who would you be? What superhero?
Well, I'm a mama boy, so I'm always surrounded by superheroes. But I always thought if I had to make up my own superhero, I would want the superpower to clone myself so that I can be everything, everywhere, all at once. Because that's basically what it means to be a woman in this industry. To be the mom, be the wife, be the producer, be the filmmaker. So that would be amazing.
And then still dress up and come and look so lovely for all of us
Thank you.
in moments like these. Female superpowers. And yourself, Andrina, who would you be?
Well, I think, good morning everyone. I think the superpower I would have, because the superhero doesn't exist as yet, because maybe we have an opportunity to create it, the superpower would be someone who can speak, read and write every language that exists and does no longer exist, and to use that power to connect, to build bridges between people, and to create stories in all the different languages without the need of a translator.
I think that's called, that superpower is called ChatGPT.
Google Translate.
No, a human being, not
Yes.
Oh, not the tool. Right, so we have all our superheroes on stage with you. So how did you combine your forces, and why did you combine your forces to begin with? Koniti, maybe you want to
Yes.
answer that?
So a little bit of context, a little background. Blended Films and Story Oasis are the proud beneficiaries of the NFVF 3 Making Film grant. So thank you, yes. Big deal. So for the next 3 years, we've been given the seed funding to create films, to keep telling our stories. And one of the first things that we did was really to reflect on many of the previous beneficiaries. And we very quickly identified that one of the challenges is that 3 years, it's not enough time, guys, because you start a story, then you film a story, and then you're in post-production, and then you go all the way back to the beginning, number 2. Now you've got to start this whole thing again. It's no surprise that the challenge to fulfill the mandate of the slate, the bar is quite high. So we've been working in tandem with Story Oasis, whose sole purpose it is to take story from like a one-liner, like a concept, an idea, all the way through to a shooting, a locked script. So we were like, hang on, and I came up with this idea of a lazy Susan. Remember that Tupperware that your auntie used to have that was like it could spin. And then you eat the nuts, and then you spin it around, and then here's the biltong, and you spin it around, and then there's the dried apples. And we were just like, hang on, what if we had this tandem, this parallel approach, so that all Story Oasis does is what they do at an exceptionally high level of proficiency. So they just deal with story. Blended, we're just going to make the stories. So as soon as we hand a property over to our post-production facility, Story Oasis are standing by to hand us a script, having taken a young filmmaker, a young writer, through their very thorough and like incredible story editing, storytelling process. So that's the power of that's our USP, that's our business model. Instead of micromanaging everybody hovering over everyone else, well, what about this? I'm just like, we're handing you script. You guys are on script. We are on film production. Let's keep this thing moving. Oh, we've lost a mic.
It's speechless.
Speechless.
Speechless, guys. Here we're coming in. Here we go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now, I mean, you ladies, you know each other for quite a while in the film industry, right? I mean, you didn't just meet and decide to come up with the concept. So for how long do you ladies know each other, and how did that come about? Tracy, you want to?
Yeah, so I mean, we know each other individually and as a group. I worked with Juanita over 10 years ago, and we became friends. We lived close by when she was still a Joburger back in the day. And I used to go and
She was a
brainstorm.
Joburger?
Yes, before she moved to Cape Town, back to Cape Town. I used to go to her place, and she used to cook some food, and we used to brainstorm and write scripts. And we directed variety shows together. So we became friends, shared values, shared vision. Dominique and I know each other for a while as well. We actually worked on an award-winning short film together. She was the producer, I was the story developer on that film. But we also traveled to various markets before that. We went to the Rio film market, we went to the AFM American film market, just exploring and understanding what genre meant in those territories and the world. And we became friends as well because there was an alignment of values. Andrina and I are the founders of Story Oasis, so we've been friends and we've been working together since 2012. She's the godmother of my daughters. She's a very good friend and a soul sister, so are the other two. So we've worked together in different capacities, and we have different skills, and we have shared values. And the idea was to leverage off those shared skills and come together and collaborate.
I love that you've mentioned the word values quite a bit now. How does trust and mutual respect play into your working relationship? How fundamental is that to you guys, and how do you navigate that?
Look, I think it's incredibly important because Konita mentioned we do not want to be micromanaging each other, and we don't want to be all things to all people, because then you get this whole superwoman syndrome that I need to do everything by myself, and we're realistic, and so we all have we call ourselves, I think Juanita came up with it, we're all Power Rangers and we all have different superpowers and skills. So let's play to those skills. And when you do that, you are trusting the other person. So I'm not going to go and micromanage Dominique and say, what are you doing, what's happening? I trust. And that only comes through the relationships that Tracy's spoken about, that over time, every relationship and every partnership doesn't just start today. It didn't just start the day we knew we got the fund. It started years before. And so we build this community of people where there's trust, there's authenticity. And so it's a really, it's a big relief off our shoulders that we know we trust each other and you play to your strengths.
I know that you also have a mantra, right? And I've read this. We believe in the power of the collective. We believe in the power of collaboration because filmmaking is a team sport.
Yeah.
Right? So, Dominique, this is about women in the industry, right? So, as 4 women of color in the predominantly male industry, right, how has your identity shaped your experience in the film and television industry? What challenges have you faced and how have you overcome them?
Well, I think before speaking about challenges, I'd just like to say that it is such a great time to be a woman in the film industry right now. When I started, there weren't that many, but as I've grown in this industry over the past 12 years, I've come to know some amazing women who are in leadership, big leadership positions. I'm sure we all know who they are. In the South African industry that we look up to and that have inspired us along the way. And there's just so many opportunities and such a great need for female-led stories as well at the moment that we really are, we in the right space, in the right time. And then just on a personal level, I can say I've worked, with a lot of different companies and I've worked with a lot of different people. And I won't say that I've had sort of challenges as a woman, but my biggest challenge was when I became a mother and I realized, oh, wait, I have to stop. I have to I have to pivot now. I can't just be a producer wanting to direct. I have to take on writing skills. And that's when, a whole lot of things opened up for me when I joined the Realness Netflix Episodic Lab, and I unlocked a new skill, also along with my business partner, Juanita, who sort of mentored me along the way on that. Even though my producing skills were at a certain level, my writing skills also, came into play. So I think being a woman, we really have to learn how to shape, shift, and change to accommodate our lifestyles, to accommodate our families, to accommodate our kids. And sometimes it might seem as a difficult thing at the time, but it can end up being a really great and wonderful thing later on. And we've also learned that you cannot do it alone. It's too much. It's way too much. You need to collaborate. You need to work with people. You need to open the doors and, just find people that you trust and that you can lean on. And that is the only way to really move forward and move ahead in this crazy, hardcore industry that we are in.
And I would suppose also just to know how to be vulnerable and to put your
Yes.
hand up amongst your core group of really close community and say,
Yes.
I'm struggling, I can't, I need your help. Please can you help out in this another way, right?
Absolutely.
So you mentioned something about stories earlier on, and I just wanted to delve a little bit into how do you ensure, right, that your work authentically represents the stories and voices of women, particularly women of color? Like our unique stories. How do you...
Yes. Well, I think what's great is that we put forward stories for the slate when we applied, and the idea was to really look at, how can we go against the stereotype of what women of color are being portrayed as on screen? How can we show different women in different professions? How can we show women who have mixed identities? How can we really go against those stereotypes? And we also look to our mothers, our aunties, our, people that we look up to in a professional sense, and we kind of pull those narratives into those known narratives, which really make it authentic. And then, of course, there's our own lives that we have, that we live, that we pull into those stories as well. Um, with that said, we are not just trying to internally, create our own sort of individual scripts. We are bringing in and collaborating with various writers as well, who have put scripts together and put scripts forward to us for the slate. And I think that also brings their own sense of authenticity to it. It's quite important to us. When we do workshops, we really dive deep and we bring in the necessary expertise from people, whether it's skewed towards more queer sort of story, we'll bring in someone from that background. Or if there's a character that's from a specific community, we'll bring in someone from that background to make sure that we remain true to the character and the story.
So if someone was interested in coming to you with a story, right, like what advice would you give females who are emerging in the film industry who just actually want to, get a foot in and a chance to actually work together with you, be where you are? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say, just be true to yourself. There are stats out there. You're always trying to chase, what do the channels want? What do they want? What are they looking for? And it's such a shifting landscape, and it's so hard to keep up with that. I always tell people, what do you want to do? What is your vision? What speaks to you? What is your voice? Like, bring that through. Don't try and be something that you're not. Don't try and, work on a genre or speak to a genre that doesn't speak to you, because authenticity and just trying to speak the truth is what's going to get you far in this industry. Because that's also the question that everyone asks in every pitch deck, why this story? And if you can connect and honestly say why, then you're good to go.
Yeah, I just want to just come in there. I think just to add to the answer there, what Dominique is saying is correct. I think write the story that you want to see on screen. That's my advice to writers. Write the story that you want to see on screen, right? We are a collective, Blended Films and Story Oasis. And part of what we offer as well is upskilling programs, development programs. I think check us out on social media, there's call-outs. It might not be for the slate, but there might be a program that you can plug into that can help in terms of a development pipeline and a development stream. I think one of the big benefits in what we are also doing is that we're working with a distributor at the development stage, which is fantastic. So we are writing stories, and the writers are developing, and we are in this development pipeline shaping narratives that are authentic, yes, but we are plugged into the end part of this film value circle chain, right? In terms of genre, in terms of commercial viability as well. So both things can happen at the same time.
And I'm glad that you spoke about that, because I wanted to jump into concept development. I mean, you've got 9 concepts to develop in 3 years. It's not a long time.
Yes.
Otherwise, you ladies really are super ladies.
Lucasade.
What is the creative process behind that? What's the creative process for you?
So as Dominique said, we went in with the 9 concepts, right? And 3 of them that we're going to produce within the time frame. And we are working on the Lazy Susan mechanism to try and work within the time parameters. We've got writers that we are collaborating with, because our stories are about community, they are about self-acceptance, they are about collaboration, and we want to live that ethos in how we actually work in development, production, and post-production. So we came in with various writers. In the development pipeline, it's not just a writer writing a story. There are story consultants, story editors, script doctors, dialogists. There's a whole lot of different things that each project needs, and that's what Story Oasis brings in terms of value to this process. So we went in with this. We went in with a process so that we could understand what the timelines would look like, that there's concepts, some of them are at outline stage, some of them are at broad treatment stage, and this is how we are going to navigate within the 3 years. This is how we're going to deliver. All of our stories are female-centric. All of our stories are women of color. All of our stories are developed and written by women. all of our stories have a comedy genre at the center of it. So comedy, family, rom-com, comedy, action, adventure, and that is the offering, and that's where we're departing from in terms
And
of
that
development.
needs a round of applause.
Yes. Yeah. I also want to jump in. I mean, some of you may know, but having spent 25 years as an actor in this country, the optics is we're on screen. Women of color, we're on screen. We dominate the screen in the scripted, be it television or film. So that's fine. Where it's not fine is behind the scenes. You talk about a seat at the table. I have worked on those shows where I play an entire storyline and it's been written by a white man. And what we're saying is, that's fine, but also we've got it from here. Thanks. Like, we're good.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Your Cape Flat story. Hi, I don't remember seeing you there, so I'm going to go ahead and run with this. And so that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? And access in a real way. What does it really mean to have access? What does it really mean to be able to mine opportunities like the last 3 days in impactful ways? And I think that I will tell you, like every time we have a Zoom call and I see those 4 tiles and I look at women who look like variations of me and we are working on content that represents that, I get a flutter in my heart because I feel like, as Dominique says, there's never been a better time to look this way and operate and hold space in this industry.
It's awesome. Wow. Another round of applause. Thank you so much. That was an awesome answer. And then how do you balance that storytelling, though, and being authentic and your artistic vision and giving the platform and the voices to females while still being commercially viable? How does one ensure that you do that?
Well, 2 things can be true and can happen at the same time.
Yeah.
You can be authentic and have a commercially viable story. And I think the process that we have, the development process, has a space for the writer to design, to shape the story, has a story consultant, have creative producers that are overseeing, giving input. We also have a development executive that we work with, our distribution partner, who's also second eyes and gives feedback. And we test it.
Yeah.
We test it. So we're not testing it when we've shot the film. We're testing it when we're at outline script stage in terms of, is this what we want to say? Is this true to the theme, right? Is this speaking to the reader? Because sometimes you have a vision in your mind, but it's not translating on the page. And that's why you have a development process, to have those checks and balances. So because our partnership isn't with our distributor, with our various stakeholders, our partners, isn't linear, it's circular, everyone plugs in.
Yeah.
And we know what we need to do, because this is the only way we can do it within the time frame that we have.
Yeah.
And then how do you ensure that you push those boundaries of traditional storytelling? Like, just to...
I mean, I think you have to be brave and you have to interrogate easy tropes. You know what I mean? So yes, we're going to have a romantic comedy, but how can we scuff at it? How can we make it a little bit transgressive? How can we make it a little bit more dangerous? And I think that as storytellers, we're very good at keeping each other in check and pushing each other. And that's the beauty of being able to work with Story Oasis, who come with years of credibility in the industry. So I could write this fantastic story and Tracy Lee's like, that's wonderful, but how do we shoot that in HD? That doesn't make sense. You've got to find a way. That's the challenge. And so again, the collaborative nature of this business plan is going to keep us on track.
keep you in line.
Yeah.
And Rena, I want to pose this question to you, but how do you see your work contributing to a more inclusive television industry?
Well, as Dominique said, it is a great time to be a woman. And at the time when many of us, but all of us started in the industry, we didn't have that much of representation. But a lot has changed. So I don't think we're coming in to do something incredibly new, but we're adding to the pot with our own skills and our layered lived experiences. We all come from different parts of the country. We all have different lived experiences. And in so doing, we're adding that to our stories. But there's another layer to it. So besides what you're going to see on the screen, we are also, an important part of this process is the upskilling process. within our business model. So from a Story Oasis point of view, we have a track record of training and upskilling various writers and story editors through the various programs we've run, some of which have received recommendations from the presidential office. Some of the guys who've been part of our programs are here to throw support our way. Their films are being made, and so we're including, that's where inclusivity comes in, and diversity, because they come from different parts of the country. And that layer of upskilling transitions into production, because we also are training. There's a shortage of skilled line producers, production staff, crew members. So this is where the diversity, inclusion layer comes into our whole process.
It's so important that you raised that. I think it was yesterday when someone said that he would like to see more diversity in post-production. He was still saying, that there's not enough diversity in post-production. So it's good to see when there's a holistic plan, to really upskill people throughout the entire chain. And then in the next, let's say in the next 5 years within the industry, right? What changes would you like to see? What changes would you like to see for females?
Look, when we say changes, we're coming in already saying that there's something wrong. So I want to reframe it. And I'd like to say that in the next 5 years, we would like to, number one, have completed our films with all of you there and having watched it. Number one.
Yes.
We are running businesses. We are entrepreneurs. We are businesswomen as well as filmmakers. There's no separation. And so we want to know that we are contributing to building sustainable businesses that contribute to our creative economy. We need to be using this kind of language and not separating things. And then have trained more female story editors. There's a huge gap in our industry for female story editors, writers, and every other avenue and member of in the crew and film production pipeline, extending to post as well. So those are some of the things that we'd like to have done and continue to do in the next 5 years.
So when to yourself, Dominique, yes.
I just want to add to that, from a production perspective, I don't know if it's possible in the next 5 years, but some of the things that Blended Together Story Oasis is trying to do from a production perspective is, can we just have 5-day work weeks, shoot weeks? Can we maybe try for 10-hour work, can we think about our mental health? Can we look after our people?
Yes.
Because we are not okay.
Yes.
And so in our productions, we're really trying to see, okay, yes, this is the budget that we have, but how can we make space to look after those that are making these incredible films? Because without us here, so many people are dropping out of the industry. So many people are having health issues. Can we really start to look at those elements so that we can still make our films and still be thriving while doing so?
That's the change I'd like to see in the industry.
I want this Cape Town Film Commission up on its feet and working. I want the Cape Film Funds to be a predictable and a reliable source of gap income. I want us to start looking at contracts with broadcasters and streamers so that tranches of money that are released in a way that makes sense, in particular for post-production services. You know what I mean? I want us to lobby government. I want us to be able to have access to our new minister so that he can move things along so that the film industry is seen as more than just a service industry. We are here for more than just your drone shot over Table Mountain. Our films in and of themselves are also assets, can also be monetized, can also make meaningful and impactful economic contributions to our GDP. That's really what I want.
Woo, preach the stuff.
Yeah?
No, it's not.
It's true, man.
It's
Come
true.
on.
For instance, this is a great event. It would be great if we could have more investors, bankers, finance people
Yes.
at this event so that we are engaging with finance, possible finance sources outside of the normal and the usual source points.
Yes.
And we're going to get, we're going to get a bit into the grant process as well. I'm sure lots of people are interested in knowing how that works and what that's about. But before we get there, just to yourself, Dominique, beyond the 3 films that you'll be, producing, what other projects or goals are on the horizon for Blended Films and Story Oasis?
Well, beyond the 3 films, even though we are only meant to be developing the rest of the 6, we absolutely want to shoot them, and we're going to have to raise the finance and bring on all the support to get those done as well. And also, we do work together in other capacities on other projects. We've got series that we're working on, a Canadian co-production that Studio Oasis is story developing for us and assisting on. And we really are trying to see holistically how we can continue this beyond the slate into other formats as well. And so that is the long-term plan, that not only will we have a slate without the NFVF after this, where that will be running, you know, with the contacts and with the leverage that we've built on the previous one, but that will expand into series as well as co-productions with other countries, because we really need to bring international money into this country, not only from a servicing perspective, but in a way that we can tell our shared stories in a co-production way that is beneficial to us as South African filmmakers as well. So that's a really big goal and something that's on the horizon for us as collaborators.
And so then, Andrina,
Yes.
can you share your experience of working with the NFVF and receiving this film grant? So, yeah, just explain to us a bit about the process and how one would go about it.
So obviously we applied, and then we knew that we were recipients of the grant, and the process and the experience with working with them on this slate is new. It's we've just started, and as Tracy mentioned, it's a collaborative process. So they are one part of a very important film value chain. This funding gives us seed funding, which allows us to build on with the other partners, to have indigenous, to have a PR and marketing company, cinema on board, to have post-production partners as well. And the NFVF are very supportive. They're there for us to sense check. We rely on each other, and they're extremely accessible. And we would not be able to do this without their investment and their support in this. So we're incredibly thankful, and the process has been great thus far.
And like you said, it's important also to know that it's a seed, it's the beginning
It's
part.
seed
It's not that you
funding.
now got a pot
No, we
of
still-
gold and
we
you
still
know,
need
it's
to raise
still-
the rest,
You need
yes.
to raise the rest. There needs to be collaboration. There needs to be all of that. Yeah, Dominique?
I just want to reflect on the moment that the call came out, because I've waited 3 years for this call to come out. We've been grinding and working hard. And we're like, when this call comes out, we're gonna apply. And then we picked up the phone to call Tracy, and there's like, yeah, we also wanted to chat to you guys about it. So it was in our heads, you know, at the same time. And this was not, it was a lot of work. Like, it wasn't an easy thing to get this application together, to get scripts in from other, you know, writers, reviewing the script, see if it fits within the flavor of what we were trying to put together, to even finish off a script, myself and Conita, like, that we were busy working on the last minute, on a Sunday. Like, you know, it was very intense, but I'm really happy that we managed to get as far as we did, and I feel like it's just getting the hard work paid off, but it's also just getting started. So, yeah.
Absolutely. Well, we're glad that you got it too. So now you mentioned the importance of inviting key partners, right, to go on this journey with you. So how are you identifying those partnerships? And then also, how do you guys engage with other people? What is that process like?
Yes. So I think, yes, it is important to involve key partners that have expertise in their portfolio or their realm of the industry. So we've got indigenous that will be handling distribution for us. And we are still also going to be looking at international distributors as well. And then we've got cinema, who they specialize in film marketing, which is a very, very niche specific specialization, because we've worked with marketing companies before, but we haven't yet had the opportunity of meeting a company that focuses on film alone. So they will be running with that. And so far, those are our major partners. We are in talks with a post-production house as well. And then, of course, there's the various writers that are, and story developers, story editors that we are working with as individuals in the slate.
So for those who are looking to apply for a grant, you'd say never give up. It's going to be hard, but you'll get there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. So I just want to get into some personal reflections.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Looking at you, eye contact. It's like, come on, personal reflections.
To you, Tracy Lee, what has been the most valuable lesson you've learned? And I'm actually going to pose this to all of you, and you can answer me individually, but we'll start with you, Tracy. Learned as an individual through this collaboration.
That leadership is taking a step back and listening. You can be active and you can make an impact without being at the center.
Let's give a round of applause. Absolutely. Love that. Connie, to yourself? What?
Yeah, I think that I've been thinking a lot about loyalty and the comfort that comes from knowing with absolute certainty that you share an agenda, be it a political agenda, a cinematic agenda, a professional business agenda. When you know that people are advocating for you even when you're not in the room, that's what this has taught me. And look, I'm going to say something. I don't even know how to drive a car, but I do know this. Because I'm in an Uber a lot. But sometimes the best way to go forward is to have an eye on your rearview mirror. Because you need to know what's going on behind you so that you can make better decisions about how to move forward. And I think all of us share that, and that's really, I've been thinking about that a lot. Just personally and professionally, and that's, I'll share that with you.
Thank you so much. And then, Andrina, for yourself, what has been some of your biggest lessons?
My biggest lesson is that this is not the time to have imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
That every experience and connection that I've made thus far has led me and us to this point. So to trust my guts and to know that I know stuff, and to use that voice. And if I don't know, I ask. Trust your guts.
And I like that. So we're not just trusting other people, but also learn how to trust ourselves. It's
Correct.
fundamental to
Correct.
to making any good partnership work as well. And then yourself, Dominic?
I think the biggest lesson and something that I'm still learning is like with this process as well, like you don't have to do it all. You don't have to carry the world on your shoulders. You can be vulnerable. You can pick up on the phone and say, listen, my kid is sick today. Like, I just can't do this. Can you please take it? Or can you give me more time? Give me some grace. Or like, just be real. Like, don't have a mask on where you're trying to show everyone that you can handle it, that you can do things perfectly. Even though you know that you are capable, we are all human. And so I think that's important to remember, and that's something that I definitely have with this team here. But if you can be honest about that, you will be okay. And you will still be able to execute and do what you need to do.
I just wanted to add to that. I think this is the beauty of working with women. Very recently, we had one of our team members has a little boy, and the child wasn't well. And the ethos, and there was a deliverable, and the ethos is, and Konita reminded us, is that we all don't move we only move when everybody else moves. So if somebody in the pipeline in our chain is not feeling well, is that deliverable more important than their health? Absolutely not. So we pause, let them be okay, and then we all pick up and we all move. And I think that is important, because as much as we have deadlines and everything else, nothing is more important than the people that are on this team with us. And I think that's a shared value and ethos we all carry, that we all, if we need to pause, we pause, then we pick up and we move together. Because we are, sounds like our South African slogan, stronger together, but we are.
Sorry, and again, I just want to add one more thing to that. I recently learned that you know how the N1 in Cape Town ostensibly goes all the way to Cairo? So the reason that the N1 is there is because it was a path that was hewn by elephants. Because elephants knew the way, guys. They started here and they trekked all the way to Cairo. So by the time settlers came and people were ready to build roads, that thing was already there. And I want to suggest, as women in this industry, as Africans, what we have baked into our DNA is the maternal society concept. And it's exactly that. Nobody moves until we all move. And what we have is a pipeline across this continent. And all we have to do is just walk. Just walk. And they're going to come, we're going to follow, we're going to get there. Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
So what are some of the proudest moments? Because, I mean, I love the fact that you guys are so supportive of each other, and that's super, super important. So imagine that there's some really good moments that you guys also share together. Sometimes not so big, sometimes like really, really proud. Because, I mean, you know, we must celebrate the small achievements also, not just the big ones. But what are some of the proudest moments that you've had?
I mean, getting the slate.
Yeah.
It was like, it was a big one. Yeah. You?
Yeah.
You?
I had that same answer.
Say it
So
again.
getting the slate, and I think also being proud of each other. Juanita and Dominique won an award for their film, Silver Scarum Feast, a few nights ago. We're super proud of them, and so we celebrate that. We got accolades for our training program from the presidency, our upskilling program, development program. They're super happy for us. We can celebrate each other. There's enough.
Yes.
There's enough for all of us. There's enough space for all of
Enough
us.
love to go around. Yourselves?
Yeah, I would say the most recent, because for career-wise together, getting the slate is a big thing. It's not a small, it's quite a big thing for us. And then yes, just having our first blended film premiere last week, and then having received such great feedback and such really amazing, people coming up to us. Yes, we want forwards, which was really great, but also just walking down the street and hearing someone talk about your film, in passing and things like that, and people coming up to you, connecting with the work. That's so important, and so quite proud about that. And that's just the beginning of what we are still going to produce. There's so much more coming from that, so it's exciting.
Gina?
I echo what everyone else said. A proud moment was knowing we are recipients of the slate. But I think, ask me that question again when we've done our first film, and then I'll say my proudest moment is now, and then the second, and then the third. So the proudest is still to come.
Love that. The proudest is still to come. So for those aspiring young females in the film industry who don't have rich uncles, right?
We don't have rich uncles either.
No. I've got some rich uncles, but they say nah. They don't like to give money. So,
Now you tell us.
what advice would you like to give them?
To the young people coming.
To the young female filmmakers.
I'd think, to echo what
Producers,
Tracy
directors.
said, trust yourself, number one. Remember that you're not alone. Work on your craft. And then the industry exists because of many other bodies that exist. There is no silo. There shouldn't be one. So, a lot is achieved. Nothing happens without individuals, and nothing will last without the institutions and organizations that exist. So join the Writers Guild, join the IBFC, join the Actors Guild, join the Editors Guild. They are there to keep you abreast. They've got amazing teams. And join Animation SA. If I haven't said anything, IPO, they're going to come for me and say I haven't said anything. So all the industry organizations, join them, because they are there to support you. They've got amazing members that are fighting and advocating for you. So I would say build up a network of support, and in that way you're continuously learning, you're upskilling, and opportunities. There's always call out, there's always job opportunities that come out there, and hard work.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
Because there's a lot of no's, a lot of no's. I mean, even now I've applied for things and I got a rejection for it, but you gotta just keep going, pick yourself up, onto the next one, it will happen.
That tenacity,
Yep.
right? That drive forward. So if people in the audience would like to get hold of you because they want to work together with you, how would they do with that? What is the process? Email
You can come scan my thing here.
But also in the booklet, in the booklet,
Yes.
the Fame Week booklet, the contact details for Story Oasis and Blended Films is in there. Our email
Websites and
addresses.
everything.
Website,
emails.
Instagram,
Social
social
media.
media, you find us. We're
Yeah.
there and we reply.
We do.
We do reply.
We reply.
Okay, cool. So now that we've got that, I want to open up the floor to some questions. But I know that, Dominique, you're sitting here with a clicker.
Oh, no, it's fine. I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna.
we're not gonna talk
You're not
about
gonna
the-
click.
No.
Okay,
No,
there's
it's
no
okay.
clicking
Okay.
happening. Can I please open up the floor to some questions that you might have
It's like
for
a
the
gin
ladies?
bottle.
Yes, thank the lady at the back with the black jacket. Yes, you lovely.
You're let me use the Ossis's tongue question.
I'm not gonna. It's not really a question. It's mostly an observation. So obviously, blended films you're relatively new, not in the industry, but the company itself. So mostly an appreciation and thank you, because for the many years that I have personally been in the industry, people are so done up by the end product. Oh my word, it's winning all these awards and it's doing so great. But in the process leading up to it, not necessarily shit, but people are working them to death, literally. And my thing has always been that the outcome does not justify the means. So yes, we've made a great award-winning product that is doing well locally and internationally, but what has it done for you and for your family? So it's a really refreshing take for all of you on stage there to firstly say it and then be practicing that we are as much a product of what we produce.
Yeah.
So just thank
Love that
you.
point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another question? Yes.
Hi, everyone. I don't have a question, but I just want to say that I have been in this industry since 2003. And I don't know how to describe what I see when I see you guys on that stage. And I just want to say thank you so much. Like, I'm so inspired. I'm so energized. I'm so revived. This is so beautiful. Thank you so much, guys. And one last question. Maybe it is a question. When are you guys starting a podcast? Because listen, I am.
Wait.
Listen.
Juanita, present here.
There's something coming. We are, it's a Story Oasis initiative that is using story and technology, maybe podcast. But if you follow us, you will know very soon.
Also, I just want to say something quickly. That is Pumla. We're talking about collaboration ethos. Pumla and I worked together at a production company in 2004. Our first jobs, Jam Alley 20-something, production managing, running around. She's CEO of Birthmark today. We
Yes.
sat Christmas, New Year's Eve, crying to get tapes out, texts. Oh my God, we're going to get...
Get Kanye to stand up.
So, well done to you, Pumla. You've actually...
Pumla, can you please stand up so we can give you...
Yes.
Yes, can you please
Also-
stand up?
Also, so she's come a long way.
Yeah.
And on that very, very positive note, we have come to the end of today's fireside.
there's one question.
Is there one more question?
Yes.
Oh,
She's going to give us money. Just one.
she's got a rich uncle.
Do you have a rich uncle? Oh, yay, rich
uncle.
auntie.
No? Yeah.
For quite a while. I've been in the industry for over a decade. And then I moved to Cape Town about 3 years ago. My question is around opportunities for women of color in Cape Town, because I've struggled. At some point, I had to move back to Joburg because I was just like, this isn't it. The doors aren't opening, and unfortunately, the keys are in the wrong color hands, unfortunately. So what advice would you give for women of color trying to figure this thing out?
Yeah.
Look, it really depends on what you are like, if it's producing or what it is that you're trying to get into. But I think some of the times that I felt blocks, this is when I realized I need to do my own thing. Start my own thing, find my own people, let's go. Whatever skills I don't have, go to the people that have the skills and go and find out how it's done. But also, you know, just keep, like, if there are companies that you really want to work with that are in the space that are more diverse, keep speaking to them. Like, maybe the opportunity is not there now, but the more they get to know you and then know who you are, an opportunity might open up there, you know? So I think it's just about that, like either going that route or really, because we need more female-led companies as well. And it's possible because there are funds out there, there are calls for pitches out there. So it's very, very possible.
Absolutely. Just to add to that as well, I mean, I experienced that. So I've been in a wheelchair since about the age of 18, and had great aspirations. And then all of a sudden, I couldn't go to university because it's not accessible. Couldn't get jobs because it's not accessible to get in, and that pushed me to become an entrepreneur myself. So where there is no way, we've got to make that way.
Yeah.
And then eventually the world catches on. Thank you so much. You've been a
Thank
fantastic
you.
audience. Give it up for our great panelists and the amazing work that they are doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.